Giant fans that have supported us for more than 30 years at Giant Stadium, for all those years in Yankee Stadium, and some of you even back to the Polo Grounds. This is for you. This is for you.
Listen to me. Okay. The rest of your life, man, nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
With the second pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Giants Guys. This is John Fennelly, your host, and with me, as always, is Craig Santucci from nygiantsrush.com. We are here on a Wednesday morning, and it is the first day of the Daniel Jones era in New York, and I'm sure there's a lot you have to say about this one, Craig.
Yeah, a lot to say, a lot to cover, and, I got mixed emotions about it, like everybody else does, So, I'm going to let you start. Where do we even begin? Because this is also, it's an afterthought, but the Giants did lose to Buffalo 28-14, which prompted this move. So there's definitely a lot to get into. Just tell me where you want to start.
Well, I'm going to give you my take on it. Okay. I think the organization stinks. I think they're crumbling all around. And they're looking for a branch to grab on, and this is the branch they're grabbing on. The defense isn't playing the way they expected it to play. Their offense is garbage. And I don't know if it's the play. And anybody who doesn't think that coaching and play calling is integral to winning is an idiot, because it is. Okay? They didn't prepare for this season properly. The in-game coaching, the zero adjustments during the in-game is pathetic. They're getting out-coached every game on offense and defense. The only thing that's worth a you-know-what is special teams. That's because they got a real coach there in Tom McGahee. And your boy Quinn is his assistant. Just going to throw his name in it. Just going to throw his name in there to irritate you.
Yep.
But Betcher's system is junk. The kids they drafted aren't doing anything. The scheme they're using is ridiculous. 10, 12 yards off the line of scrimmage, letting receivers run free all over them. No pass rush. Okay, the scapegoat for all of this, Eli Manning. Why? Because he'll concede. He'll acquiesce and say, okay, I'll take a back seat, which he knew was going to happen at some point this season, or could happen at some point this season. And here it is. Okay? They need to change the narrative that they blew it this year.
Yes.
They can't rebuild, okay, and compete at the same time. They should have known at the beginning of the season or after last season, you know what? We have to move in a different direction. Eli, right? Here's your last check. We're going to retire your number. Come back in a couple of years. Thank you very much. And draft a quarterback. But they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to give away their plan.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They didn't want anybody to know that they were going into the draft looking for a quarterback. You had the sixth pick. Who was going to jump in front of you for some of these guys? Nobody.
Oh, man. And like, yes, and yes. It is, the overlying theme is coming from the top, right? We can and will dissect this Eli thing in the game, but you are 100% right. And I've been saying this for 2 days now. It just feels like a deflection. Let's move the narrative to Eli Manning when we don't have the right players, didn't draft the right players. Oh, we're not making in-game adjustments. We cut TJ Jones. Oh, no, we need TJ Jones. Like there's definitely
anybody who shows flashes, they cut.
Yeah, so coming from the top, everything is wrong with what's going on. Like if you want to call us old heads, the Giants are old guys. Well, guess what? This kind of stuff didn't happen with Accorsi and Wellington Mara. Like it's gotten to a point where there's no stability. Tom Coughlin had a lot of stability. Love him, hate him, whatever you want to say. Like there's no stability in the franchise right now. I mean, listen, Shermer is 15-36. He's a losing head coach, and this team reflects a losing head coach. Do I like Betcher? Sure I do. But he's being way too cute. He's trying to impress everyone how smart he is, and his players have no idea what they're doing. They're never in the right spot. They never make the right play. Their technique is horrible, and all this is going to be put on Eli Manning. I get it. People want to turn the page. I get it. But one, it is game 2, and also, do yourself a favor, people. Do yourself a favor. Find Brian Baldinger's Twitter account and watch his breakdown of the film. Just do yourself a favor. Before you spout off about how bad he is, how many plays he hasn't made, watch the breakdown from Brian Baldinger. You will see he doesn't do one clip to tell his story or create a certain narrative. He breaks down multi-clips. And you know what you see? You see dropped pass after dropped pass after dropped pass. Then you see linemen blown assignments on their knees, crawling around at Eli's feet, Eli scrambling. Then you see play after play with journeyman wide receivers that just aren't open. So we need to be honest about what's going on. The page was going to be turned. We got it. It should have been last year, as John just alluded to, or don't draft a quarterback this year. Build the defense and draft a quarterback next year. Draft Tua, draft Herbert, draft Fromm, draft Costello. Okay? Because now we just have what's really going on. Or Hurts, yeah, exactly. Now we have what's really going on. It's making a mistake and then making a mistake to fix a mistake. Like, I'm sorry, you just said it. You can't have Eli here, okay, with Jones. When Kerry Collins was here, who was a really nice quarterback, they got rid of Kerry. They brought in Kurt Warner to teach Eli. Game 7, Eli comes in. The Giants were playing decent ball. Now, I was not a fan of Kurt Warner on the Giants. He held the ball for like 90 minutes every play and got sacked. Like that, like he didn't fit the Giants. But this is very early in the season for Jones. I'm supporting Jones, but it really isn't the problem. It really isn't. So depending on what you want to pick, as the problem, it really goes upstairs to the ownership and management.
Right. And that was my point, that the Giants have lost their way, which was the Ernie Accorsi way. There's two things that Ernie Accorsi always preached. Keep your quarterback vertical and make their quarterback horizontal.
Yep.
Okay? And how do you do that? Offensive tackles and pass rushers. And what is the two things this team hasn't drafted worth of you-know-what in years?
Yeah, a pass rusher and a tackle.
Yeah. And they're all in the draft. Von Miller was in the draft. Khalil Mack was in the draft. J.J. Watt was in the draft. Where were the Giants? Drafting, cornerbacks and wide receivers and, last year, they drafted Barkley, great player. He could end up in the Hall of Fame, could be the best player the Giants have had since Lawrence Taylor. They don't need him. He's not going to help you win a championship. What running back does?
Well, wait, hang on. Make sure you're clear about that. He can't help you because this team needs so many other pieces.
That's the point. With the number 2 pick last year, they should have drafted their quarterback then.
Okay, wait, hang on. Or, and I'm with you. I'm not a Darnold guy, okay? But
It could
Let's
have been
say
somebody else. It could have been. They could have moved down and taken Allen, who we saw last week, who I didn't think was that bad.
Agreed.
Right.
But I will also play the other card and say, fine, take Saquon. But this year, build the defense and draft your quarterback next year. So now you still have a crappy, defense, and you've got the mess that you have right now. Like, I would have been fine waiting for 20 to 20.
And they don't give Barkley the ball anyway. So what's the difference?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you're going to want – so I got
What
it.
was
So
the point?
And by the way, it's a great point because, if you got Darnold, you're already in your second year of the rebuild, right?
Right.
I'm with you. But just in case, you don't subscribe to that, I would have built the defense last year. I would have built the defense this year. Mm-hmm. And next year I would have drafted a quarterback too.
There you go.
And then I would have brought a guy in as a bridge, a Matt Schaub.
There you go.
I would have brought a bridge
George in. Blanda. Is he still alive? You bring him in.
No, he's not. But that's beside the point.
Bring him in anyway.
What do you call it? They that's a very morbid picture. They just they just brought what's his name out of retirement to be a bridge. What's it? Who just came up for the Eagles?
Josh McCown.
I mean, look,
yeah,
man.
Why not? I would have taken him.
The guy was fishing with his kids. You
know
what I mean?
Anyway, so you may as well you have to put somebody back there.
Yeah, so
while you rebuild, right?
Many of moves. Now, what even irks me, even more, and we've gone on round and round. I mean, personally, I've placated to some of the the Twitter followers. I want everybody to get along. It's a good debate. It's all great. And now we're here. We're here, and it's annoying beyond any comprehension because even if you still draft Jones at 6, please, for the love of God, draft the absolute best playmaker I can find at 17. And what you do is you build the team inside out. The team is never built from the inside out. I don't want to hear people tell me that was the right move. Okay? You traded Snacks, so you felt the need to go replace him. Lawrence played 20 snaps in week 1. 20. He was supposed to be a 3-down defensive tackle. Now, he did play more snaps. I think 38 snaps this week.
He'll play more and more as the season goes on, but I think he could have been had in the second round.
It's possible. But you know what? All the stud outside linebackers and defense ends could not.
Montez Sweat was there.
They were not going to stay there. Right in the second round, we had 5 or 6 guys still on the board at 17. So this entire
What was my perfect first round for the Giants last year? Josh Allen, Montez Sweat.
Correct.
6 and 17. That's it.
I wasn't far behind.
Then you sit back and watch the fireworks.
Yep. I wasn't far behind you. I was either Allen and Oliver or Allen and Burns.
That's another guy, sure.
Just none of it makes sense. So look,
we also talked about Jonah Williams.
Jonah Williams, that's right. Right. Well, he's the Bama guy.
Yeah, he's out for the year, but with Cincinnati. But still, I mean, you got to take guys like that when you can. And you don't take your quarterback when you have so many other unsettled positions. I mean, they could have conceivably. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't think that Jones would have been there. Waited to the second round to get him. I don't think anybody was going to take him. There are other people say, "Oh, Denver traded out because Jones wasn't there anymore." Okay, so then they get Jones. Then they get him if they trade up. So let them do it. There are more quarterbacks equally able in this draft and next year's draft that you didn't have to rush to bypass some of these guys that are going to be in Hawaii or Orlando.
And by the way,
at the end of this year.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I would say, before you leave that quarterback thing, and don't forget, Laletta was still on the team.
Yeah. We're going to get to him in a second. I'm going to tell you what I think should happen right now if I'm Eli Manning. They're on the road this week. So I'm going to go down to Tampa. I'm going to stand on the sideline. And then I'm going to come back. They're home next week, right?
I will tell you in a second. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 2 weeks. Yep. I'm pulling it up now
I
with
think
the
they're
actual
playing
schedules.
Washington or somebody, right?
It is the Redskins, correct?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll come back to the Redskins game. I'll stand on the sideline and I'll hear the crowd all game long. It's probably going to be mostly positive. There'll be some negative idiots probably goading him or whatever, and that'll be the last time I wear a Giants uniform. I will retire. Or I will say to Dave Gettleman, I want to release me. Okay? I'm not going to stand on the sideline for another 2 months, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. A guy started 232 games for your franchise. You really expect him to stand there on the sideline for the rest of this year? Do you really expect that to happen?
At some point, here's the thing. Eli's a nice guy, but he's no dummy. At some point, you go, you know what? I have taken a lot of flack over the years for this franchise not giving me receivers and linemen. I've taken all the abuse. You know what? I'm out.
Go to Giants Wire and read my article about how the Giants failed him the last 7 years. Read it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about the listeners. Just read that article. How they blew it. He was there every game. And even Ben McAdoo, who we lionize for, and rightfully so. The guy was, he wasn't right for the job. But he saw it. He said, Eli, the offense we want to run, he's not the guy. So we're going to have to do something. So they benched him. Of course, they benched him at the wrong time for the wrong guy.
Yeah, right.
But McAdoo saw the future. He said, you know what? This Mahomes kid is going to be good. Maybe we should do something and try to get him in the draft. Okay, they had the 23rd pick. Which they got Ingram with. But, Kansas City moved up to get him. The Giants didn't lift a finger. And, the other 31 teams didn't do anything either. But still, they could have done that because McAdoo said to them, I like this guy. He's the guy. We should get him. And look at what he's doing. First play every game, right down the field. Boom, boom, boom.
Well,
he puts pressure on the defense. I've never seen a quarterback do that before.
Nah, he's the best I've seen since Rodgers.
Dan Marino used to do that. First play, bomb.
Yep. Again, hey, but back to your original point. That's also the offense. Okay? I mean, what we are doing. So this is kind of where I'm at. All right? I get it that the page was going to be turned and that at some point Eli was going to bridge this over to Jones. I did not expect him to start the full season, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking economics. Who's going to put $20 million on the bench? Who's dumb enough to put $20 million on the bench?
You just found the answer to that.
Yes, I did. So I did, but I thought, there's a 50-50 shot that at week 8, if things aren't going well, it moves over. Like right now, I'm sorry to tell you that it just is like a deflection off of what's really going on.
Right. They need to change. They need to shift the focus to Jones so you don't see how bad the rest of the team is.
I mean, people, wake up. Is anyone talking about what happened at Buffalo? Is anyone talking about the most boring, pathetic game I've seen in years on Sunday? No.
Right.
Nobody is talking about what happened on Sunday.
And the Bills are a team that plays 3-point games. Right?
Yes.
They either win them or lose them. That's the type of team they are. They're not a blowout team, but they blew the Giants out.
Don't be fooled. I mean, this is just literally covering up for Betcher and Shermer. Okay? Like, hey, look, I also get a lot of flack, okay, for talking about Shula. And I'm going to say this one more time, and I hope you people understand.
What is his job?
Yeah, like Shula is supposed to implement the offense and hand it to Shermer to call. Yes, Shermer calls the plays, but he's a head coach. He's got a lot of responsibilities that are even outside the building, with the media and all the other things that he has to do.
Shermer is the Andy Reid guy, and, they always call their own plays, those guys.
Yep, and I'm fine with that. But Shula is watching the film, putting in the offense. What would be good? What works? What doesn't work? Hey, Pat, this is what we should run. He's the guy. He's the guy that makes it go, okay? The offense can't go because we've got receivers that are journeymen.
Wait
and
a
then
second. The first drive of both games was perfect. They knew exactly what they want to do. They executed it properly. Then when the other teams, Dallas and Buffalo, made adjustments, the Giants didn't make any adjustments. They didn't know what to do.
It's absolutely.
Who's coaching this team from upstairs? Yeah. Who's saying this is what we see Dallas doing now? Who's seeing that and say, okay, this is what we have to do to counter that? I don't know. Yeah. Who's doing that?
Like Shula should be in his ear. Dude, call this type of play. Yeah. Or, hey, we should have implemented this play.
Buffalo took Ingram out of the game.
And it was over.
And the Giants didn't know what to do. The receivers they had out there, weren't very good. Latimer was dealing with a calf injury. Then he had a concussion. So,
and by the way,
and then they had nobody left.
Watch the tape, man. Wide open passes. Ready? Here's the word, people. Look it up if you need to. Yeah. Uncontested.
Ingram let one slip right through his hands.
Okay. I'm talking about on the sideline with Jones and Fowler. Fowler dropped the ball right in front of me at the stadium, uncontested. There wasn't a DB around him for 5 yards.
I know.
Just drop the ball.
Got to hang on to the football.
You got to be kidding me. This offense is so pathetic.
But what the best part of the offense now is the offensive line. They're playing decent.
Yep.
Everybody else is falling around them. And, of course, if you draft Saquon Barkley, excuse me, second overall, he's got to get 40 touches. That's an exaggeration. Of course.
I know what you're saying. He needs 20 carries.
You got to ride him because, you don't have – you have foregone everything else to draft this guy. So now he's got to be your guy. All right? You have to give him the ball 30 times. All right? That's more reasonable. And the other team knows it, but hey, so what? You don't have anything else. We want to use him as a decoy. Well, it's not working. Decoy for what?
Let's also not forget, and let's shift gears to the Marshmallow Man. Betcher needs to either figure it out or he gets a pink slip at the end of the year because this is the New York Giants. What's that?
I think that's going to come anyway now.
Yeah,
there's no way this defense gets better.
Well, here's what I want you to answer for me, Randy.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking about it since Sunday as I'm sitting in the stadium falling asleep, watching this. How do you leave Arizona as the defensive coordinator to come to New York to be the offensive coordinator? A, you're leaving more talent because there's more defensive talent in Arizona.
The reason why he left is because the head coach was fired. Was he fired? Bruce Arians?
No, Arizona had the one-and-done guy.
No, Wilkes was after that.
Correct.
So it was Arians, I think, and they're playing him this week. I think advantage Arians on that one.
Well, okay, so maybe I might have misspoke because I thought that Betcher might have had an opportunity to stay, but maybe he didn't. And I thought
it was a house cleaning when that happened. They brought Wilkes in, and Wilkes is his own defensive guy, so he was the defensive guy in Carolina.
Okay, that's on me. All right, that's a great point. Thanks for correcting me because I just can't figure out why he came. But okay, so let's say
because he needed a job.
He needed a job, and he's here. So I'm on the way home from the game listening to the
post-game show. He's going to be needing a job soon too. Soon.
Well, we better figure it out. And I will say that if you don't have an opportunity to listen to the post-game show with Carl Banks and Bob Papa, you should. Because Carl said the greatest thing on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And he was using it as an example of the entire defense. But he was making a point. We're talking about Baker and how bad Baker has been, right? And he said that at one time, Baker turned inside to cover the inside route.
Right.
And abandon the streaking wide receiver on the sideline.
Correct.
And his point was that goes against everything you ever know, learn, and have been taught and practiced as a cornerback. You never turn to the inside to cover an inside route and leave a streaking outside receiver on the sideline. As a cornerback, that's your job. And Carl said that's a perfect example to realize that they're so confused They are so thinking and not playing that there's no instinct on this defense that the Betcher has to stop with whatever he's doing and simplify it and let them play football. He's over scheming these guys where your first round draft pick, who's a good corner, a great corner in college, is completely clueless.
Right. And
I mean,
I didn't think that, coming out of college, like he dropped to the 30th pick. Okay. He was the first corner taken in the draft. He was going into the second round.
Correct.
The Giants stopped that free fall. They could have stopped it with the 7th pick in the second round. Didn't have to trade up 3 picks to get it. No, really.
I know.
A lot of people thought that. Say, well, what they trade up to get this guy? Nobody else was really looking at him that we know of. But who knows? Gettleman apparently knows more than everybody else, and he'll be the first to tell you that. The problem with Baker is he's a press corner. He's got to be face-to-face with that receiver when the ball snaps. He's got to be within a yard or two.
Yeah, he's got
10 yards away.
No, and I tell you, John, watch the film. I'm going to listen. I mean, as a former cornerback, as a former safety, at the college level, I'm going to tell you, when you not only use the cushion there, I wish I could show you. I mean, again, it's a podcast, right? So I can't show you the film. But so he starts his technique off, right, taking a read step, backpedaling, keeping the receiver in front of him, right?
Correct.
On the break, when the receiver makes the break, you can see Baker is still backpedaling, and then he opens up his hips and he drifts even further back where it should be a plant and explosion forward to meet the receiver at the break, at the ball. He literally, at the break, adds another 2 yards onto his cushion because he's fading back instead of exploding forward. So his 8-yard cushion becomes 12. Like, it's every single play. What does that tell you, about the defense? And what's that tell you about the coaching? And then if Banks is telling me that he sees Beasley streaking down the field and Baker turns inside to let him go, these guys are confused. And if Betcher doesn't figure it out, he'll be gone. Yes, the talent may not be here, but there's no excuse for bad technique.
There's definitely talent in that secondary. All right? They have to be aggressive. They can't be passive. Okay? And like Jenkins said after the game, he says, I can't cover a guy for 10 seconds. He says, I'm trying my best. And there's, that's a slap at the pass rush. So? He's right. He's saying what we're seeing.
Yes. We've known it from jump, and everybody told me, no, we're going to be great up front. I'm sorry, people. It's the same thing whether Vernon was here or not.
Right.
If you don't have a game-changing pass rusher, the game is different. I don't care if they run. I had a conversation with Carl Banks about the 3-4. He said there's a lot of 4-3 that's being run with a nickel. So it's not just a 3-4. It's a hybrid, and you're seeing a dime and nickel on the field. I get it, but we don't have the talent on the outside.
Don't have the linebackers to play a 3-4.
Well, which leads me to my second point. If we do have the talent, just humor me now. If we do have the talent, it resides in Zoe Carter and Zimenez. So put them on the opposite sides of the field, strong and weak, and let them pin their ears back and go.
Yep.
You're evidently confusing them because Zoe Carter, who I think is a really talented kid, has fallen off the map, disappeared. It was supposed to be a breakout season for him. And Zimenez was a guy you drafted because you said how good he was. They're thinking too much. There's no instinct. There's not enough snaps. The defense is too confusing and too complex. So please, for the love of God, Betcher, figure it out.
You know how I would run this team?
Please
defense.
help me.
Okay. I would have Carter as a defensive end because he's big enough and he's fast enough. Okay. Then I would put Lawrence and Tomlinson on the inside. I'd put Hill as a rotating guy on the inside, and I would put Zimenez on the other end
Yeah,
I would have
exactly.
a Mathis, like they used to have in the Col with the Colts. Those two guys, right?
Yep. Yep.
That I would make Carter and Zimenez those kind of guys. Okay. Oh, we have Marcus Golden. Okay, he can relieve one of them.
You're talking about Freeney and Mathis.
Freeney and Mathis. That's what I'm thinking of. They're not as good as those guys. Maybe they are. Who knows? Zimenez is very good pass rusher. Okay, they shouldn't be playing linebacker, in my opinion, unless they're going to be rush linebackers, which they're not rushing.
Well, that's the thing. Let them just go. They're doing they're
not.
disappearing.
I would play 3 linebackers. I'd put Ogletree in the middle, Conley, right, and I would have somebody else, Tay Davis, or whoever else you want to put out there. I don't really care.
There's no reason why Connolly's not starting every game.
He should play every snap.
Yeah, Connolly's the only guy I ever see do anything.
Yeah. He could even play the middle. I wouldn't put him in the middle, but I'd put him on the outside in the beginning, let Ogletree play in the middle. And then you could have Tay Davis or one of the other guys, not Nate Stupar.
Yeah, they cut him. He's gone.
I know he's gone, but still. They have a few other guys, but you could play with 2 linebackers because you have a lot of guys in the secondary. As long as they're coached properly and given the right assignments, they'll be fine. But that's not what's happening here. Baker is a good player. Okay? Let him play to his strengths. You don't draft a kid like that and then put him in like a fish out of water. The same thing with Peppers. What are they doing with him? What's his job? He's always out of position. He makes a lot of tackles. Yeah, because he's chasing the guy. He makes a lot of tackles from behind.
Well, they're desperate when they pull a guy. They pull a guy off the free agent wire with Skipper and he plays. You know what I mean? Like this guy. It says a lot. It says a lot that you're taking a guy that the Steelers cut and you're playing him. It says a lot. And you know what? All we need is less complexity and more athleticism.
That's it. You just need to say this is your job. Okay. Linebackers, let the linebackers figure out who's going to play where. Let Ogletree make the calls and say, this is your guy, and that's the play. Don't drift. Don't deviate. You got number 26, you got number 82, boom, and that's the end of it. Okay? And you followed a guy. Now, Baker is got an assignment. He's supposed to cover 2 guys coming off the line. Which 2? He doesn't know. So he turns from one, goes to the other, and he ends up covering neither one of them. We saw that several times.
Yeah.
And Bethea, I don't know what's going on with him. He's all over the field chasing people. What's his assignment?
Well, if we're rebuilding, why isn't Love and Ballantyne in the game too?
Agree. If you're rebuilding, why do you have a 35-year-old safety anyway?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't understand what's going on with this team. People send me, emails and tweets, what's happening with this, what's happening with that. I don't know, and you know why I don't know? Because they don't know. They don't know what they're doing. They make one decision to step one direction, and then they make another decision to step in another direction. And you got a head coach who's, I think he's over his head. I don't think he's head coach material. That's not a slap on him. Not everybody is, right? That's why they don't last too long. But, he's a good football man. He knows his stuff. But being a head coach is a different animal. That's why you'll see so many guys get fired. 8, 9 coaches every year get fired, right? You don't like to see people lose their jobs, but, in some cases, they're not good hires. They shouldn't have the job anyway.
Well, you know what he doesn't have that I think people dismiss? Because he wasn't good with the Eagles, right? And all of a sudden he has this miraculous comeback with Minnesota. You know what he doesn't have? Who was like the biggest sleeper the NFL has seen in a long time? Adam Thielen. Okay? Like, don't dismiss this guy. He's a top wide receiver in the NFL. And guess what? No one knew his name.
And all of a sudden, dismiss him because he still makes catches.
I mean, he's literally, top 100 players. His peers ranked him. He's always a top, 5 in receptions. I mean, and guess what? No one knew about this guy. And you got
he's their Victor Cruz.
Well, yeah, and Keenum is throwing lights out to this guy, and everyone's like, wow, Shermer's a genius. We don't have any sleeper wide receivers on this team. That's just
We've got guys
around.
who are asleep.
Yeah. And for the record, I've said this again. I'm only going to say it one more time. Like, we could do absolutely nothing about the change, but I am dead serious when I tell you that Shepard, Latimer, Fowler, and Jones do not run, what you would consider a number one wide receiver routes. They do not run crisp, head fake, stick in the ground routes. Watch them. Their routes are rounded. They do not lower their hips. They do not explode into breaks. They do not come back to the ball. Watch the film. They don't even come back to the ball. Eli's scrambling and everybody's 30 yards downfield.
Here's what's going to happen now. Okay, it's week 3. The RPO, the run pass option, is now in the offense because of Jones. He can run it. Eli really couldn't run it. So that's going to be a big thing. So they'll benefit from that. They'll also benefit from Shepard coming back and Tate coming back. All right? So I see him having a level of success. I think the offense will straighten out, but the defense won't. And that's going to be a problem. It's going to be like the end of last season. They're going to be losing by high scores. They'll lose 28-27, 35-34. I think they'll be able to score. I think Jones will come in and make a little bit of a difference because he adds that extra dimension. Plus, he loves to throw deep. The first thing he does is look deep. Where Eli is always looking to check down. I think that mentality sunk into him from being on all those bad teams with those bad offensive lines. Jones is younger. He wants to make the big play. He's looking to get the maximum amount of yards every pass. So he's going to be looking deep, and he's going to tell guys, go. If you're one-on-one, go.
I would like to make a comment on that because when Eli goes deep, if you remember, because my head almost exploded like scanners, in the stadium. When Eli went deep, Fowler stopped running.
Yeah, I know.
And then looked up and went, oh, there's the balls to me, and started running again. Yeah. So when you're Eli and your receivers don't run their routes, why would you go deep anyway?
But Fowler isn't going to be the guy because T.J. Jones is back. Darius Slayton's going to play either this week or next. And you're going to have that guy who can run out there and just keep going. You're going to have that field stretcher.
I hope so, because here's the thing. I don't care how fast or slow you are. You still got to run your route. I mean, there's no reason on God's green earth you stop running your route.
Probably didn't think he was going to get the ball.
But that's my point. That's the crap that Eli has to deal with.
I know.
I mean, it's definitely not a level playing field.
I'm just telling you what to look for going forward.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, this kid, they know what he can do, and they want to see him do it.
My question is, if he does bad, does Eli come back in, or is it over?
No, because Eli's going to leave. This is what I envisioned happening. I was on the radio in Syracuse yesterday, and they asked me what I thought would happen. I said, Eli he will stand on the sideline, get his last hurrahs, and then he's going to say, what am I doing this for? If his money isn't guaranteed for this season, there's still $10 million on the table. He may not want to walk away from that, so I can see that. So he'll ask them to release, and they'll still have to pay him, I think. But they'll just get Lauletta back off the Eagles practice squad. All they have to do is sign him. So they could sign him back as long as they put him on their 53. They're good. So they'll have their quarterbacks.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah. So they have their quarterbacks. And by having Eli on the sideline, he turns into kind of like a pariah at that point.
Yep.
Does he really want to do that?
No.
I don't want to see him do that. I'd rather see him just ride off into the sunset. That's why I said the Washington game. He gets to stand on the sideline. The fans get to see him. He gets to wave, and that's it. And then he's gone. Unfortunately for him, that's the way it ends. But, we all don't get to pick our own destiny.
Would a la Peyton, because I'm sure Peyton's in his ear right now, does he go to Jacksonville?
No.
Does he go
Jacksonville's not going to take him because Foles is coming back. week 10, I think.
Okay. Does he go to Tennessee? Does he go?
No, he doesn't go anywhere else, I don't think.
Okay.
If it were the off season, maybe. Does he go to Pittsburgh or New Orleans or any of these other places? No.
Well, this morning the note is that Ben Roethlisberger's injury is not career-ending, and they've already got Mason Rudolph and Will Grier on the bench, so he's definitely not going to Pittsburgh.
Well, they don't have Will Grier. Will Grier is with Carolina.
Not Will Grier. Rudolph and who is the third-string quarterback? They have two quarterbacks on the bench there.
Yeah, but Rudolph is the guy they want.
Rudolph's the guy. Yeah, Rudolph's the guy. So I don't see Pittsburgh being a landing spot, but I was just wondering if you thought Eli still wants to play, would he go somewhere?
I can't really see him doing it, but you never could tell. If I were him, this would be it.
Is there a team that's a quarterback away from going to the playoffs?
Yeah, we just mentioned two, Pittsburgh and New Orleans. They say Breeze will be out 6 weeks, but that could be longer. And he's going to come back, and they have Teddy Bridgewater, who they love.
What was the
highest
injury
paid backup in the league?
What's the injury on Breeze?
He has a torn ligament in his throwing hand, in his thumb. So that's
what?
2 months, as far as I'm concerned. They say it's 6 weeks. I think it's 8 weeks.
Okay. Now we all know that the Mannings are from New Orleans, right?
Right.
Why not?
Depends on if they want to. He's got to get the offer first. If the Giants trade him, what are they going to get for him? That'll be a complete indignity. That'll be like trading Sam Huff again. I don't want to do that. That's why I said I think he should just pack it in.
Bengals?
He's got his health. He's never been hurt.
Nope.
Why risk it now?
I don't know, because I think he still wants to play because I think he feels
slighted.
I
want to do a lot of things too, but
Well, let me get. How about some how about some Twitter?
Yeah,
Twitter?
please.
All right, so let's see what I have for you today. Let's see. From the man, do you think more film study can improve this young defense?
Always, of course. Film study is the key. It's the foundation to what you do, how you learn. Right? I mean, that's kind of an easy question.
Yeah, there's got to be a little bit more than that because I'm thinking that they may be watching the film, but the defense is too complex for them to apply what they're looking at because when
they line up, they know what they see. But then if the defensive call is to do something else, that's not the player's fault. Like Carl Banks had said, if you gave Baker a single task to cover a guy, he'll cover him. But if you give him an option, okay, if this guy moves this way, you got to move to him. If it's the other guy, hey, you can't give him that.
Yeah, too much.
You have to give the direct assignment to these younger guys and let them carry it out.
I will say this, and I don't know this for fact, but I'm pretty sure that Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells let LT go. They gave him little assignment, and they said, blow it up, wreck it, tackle it, hit it, do your thing. And I doubt that they over-schemed Lawrence Taylor. I'm not calling Zoe Carter or Zimenez Lawrence Taylor. I'm not even putting him in that.
Well, what do you think Landon Collins' job was?
Exactly.
His job was to follow the football, and that's what he did.
And guess what? Everybody hated on him for the 100 tackles a year, right?
Yeah, that's what his job was. That's what he did.
Peppers is like a quarter of the safety Landon Collins was.
Oh, God.
All right, next one is from our guy Gaza, who we love. As depleted as we are at wide receiver, do you think Daniel Jones will benefit from the preseason relationship he had with T.J. Jones? And do you think Shep will be back to help?
Yes and yes.
I agree with that. I mean, Jones and T.J. Jones ran a lot of second team together, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there should be some continuity there.
I agree with that. I think I think I said that before. I think with T.J. Jones, going to be spreading the field a little bit with Darius Slayton, And, they're going to take their shots. And that's what you need to do. When you watch some of these teams, you watch Kansas City play, the first play is down the field. The defense is running already on the run. That's how you win. Look at the Rams. First play, Goff, over the top. If it doesn't complete, it doesn't complete. But you just made their cornerbacks run 40 yards.
All right. More Twitter from Kelly Fisher. Do you think the offensive playbook opens up now that Jones is starting?
Yes.
And why is Baker playing so far off his receiver?
I can answer the first question when we already have.
Yes.
That, the RPO, the run pass option is in. Okay. And they may also move Barkley out in the slot and stuff like that. And Jones will look to throw for maximum yardage every play. Okay, he's going to look for the biggest play he can find and move around better than Eli. He'll even run. Hopefully he runs out of bounds, doesn't get hurt. And Baker's playing off the line of scrimmage because your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah,
he's not just him.
And we answered that before. He's just got bad technique right now. It's not necessarily how far off the ball
they're
he
misusing him.
Yeah.
That's a misuse of a guy.
He's confused, and he's got bad technique. He's not exploding to the receiver. He's literally backpedaling, and then at the break, still backpedaling. He's just got bad technique.
When you have a rookie, you're going to start. The easiest thing to do is play to his strengths and make him feel comfortable. You can always teach him the rest, but make sure you're putting him in the best position that he can succeed. And the Giants aren't doing that with DeAndre Baker.
All right, ready? Next one is from John DeVito. Let's see. If we're rebuilding, why is Bethea in the game and not Love and Ballantyne?
We just said that. We just covered that.
Yep.
Right? Bethea, why is he even on the team? You could put Sean Chandler out there. No?
Those guys, they're getting no snaps right now.
Yeah, Sean Chandler's fine. Bethea's, he's slow to the party, and he's confused like everybody else, even though he's played in this defense before.
Yeah. Yes, he has. Let's see what else I got in here for you. I have a couple more. I'm just scrolling through them.
Oh, go right ahead.
Well, I'm looking for some of them we already talked about,
Yeah.
Like, some of them we can't go back down
We're not
that
the
road.
only ones who sees what's going on here.
Well, everyone's kind of, there's definitely Twitter is a back and forth on the Jones thing, and everybody's writing.
I have a question for you.
Oh, bring it.
Why do you have 5 tight ends on the roster? And then you cut C.J. Conrad from the practice squad.
Oh, my goodness. Why do you got to hit the sensitive spot every time?
And one of them's not C.J. Conrad, which is ridiculous.
It makes me so mad that I don't care what anyone tells me.
And 3 running backs. Sorry.
It doesn't make any sense because I've got to ask myself, who makes these decisions? Who's signing off on this? And how did it make the team any better? 5 tight ends. We're barely throwing to the 1 and 2 that we have now.
Right.
I mean, so no, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. 5 tight ends.
What do you need? Garrett Dickerson, Eric Tomlinson, and now this Caden Smith. What do you need those 3 guys for?
Unless he can rush the passer, I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know and they only have 3 running backs, and one of them's Eli Penny, who's a fullback.
Which Shermer's not afraid to give the ball to, by the way.
No, in crucial situations for some reason.
Yeah, it's annoying. Yes, I have
3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 are Barkley territory. If you don't give the ball to Barkley, you should be fired. That's why he's here.
I agree.
That's it. I don't care if the other team knows it. If you remember the old Green Bay Packers, you're a little young. They would get inside the 5-yard line, and Jim Taylor would be in the backfield, and they would basically tell the defense, he's getting the ball, and he's running that way, and you're not going to stop it. And they never did.
All right, you ready for this one? I like this. What's going on with the Giants? Smells a bit fishy. Is this Mara holding on to Eli's overall 116 record?
Yes.
So is this
that played into it? I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, and that's from Ryan, and his
He's
handle is
absolutely right,
try.
because if he starts another game and they lose, he'll never regain his 500 status, and that'll affect his Hall of Fame vote. Believe it or not, there's a lot of
Yes.
morons out there who won't put him in.
So Ryan, great question. Yeah, it smells fishy. It just gets thrown back on the pile with, the making the move to quarterback, deflecting the bad coaching. The management upstairs doesn't want to taint Eli's record as a Giant. It makes the Giants look good when Eli goes into the Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
This is
a political move. Yeah, sure.
Totally political, ego-driven right here, because if he goes down with a upside-down win-loss record, that reflects on the New York Giants.
Yes.
So,
and how they failed him for the last 7 years.
Yes, without a doubt. So that's that's everything else here. I'm getting is what everyone's just basically either.
I wrote it. Here's one for you.
Okay.
I wrote an article.
Yep.
How the Giants failed Eli Manning. And some guy tweets back to me saying, "What about how the NFL failed Colin Kaepernick?"
Oh, God.
I'm like,
what's the question?
What are you kidding me? I said, I cover the Giants. Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
What do you? They failed him. I'm like, okay, they failed him. Whatever.
Yeah, you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with the fact that the guy was, banned or blackballed or whatever for certain reasons. I mean, no team wanted to sign him because no team wanted to bring that on. Regardless of what he's protesting, if it's going to alienate half your fan base, you're not going to sign the guy.
So are you asking is your question to me is if I believe that?
Yeah.
If Kaepernick, I mean, no, completely different story. That is above football, right? That's
but it had nothing to do with the article I wrote. That was my point.
No. Well, that's just, people with agenda.
All right, here's what NFL research sent out today. If Eli Manning has started his last NFL game, does he belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Here's a short list of pros and cons. You tell us. Here's the pros. 2-time Super Bowl champ and MVP. All right? 56,537 pass yards, 7th all-time in NFL history. Most QB wins in Giants franchise history. Okay, now those three alone, to me, that's a rubber stamp yes, right?
Yes.
Now here's the cons. 116 wins, 116 losses. 241 interceptions, which is 14th most in NFL history. And here's what a lot of people point to. He was never a top 5 quarterback in a single season in passer rating, completion percentage, or TD-INT ratio. There you go. So when I was asked yesterday of the 2004 class of quarterbacks, which is Roethlisberger, Eli, and Phillip Rivers, right?
Yep.
Who the best quarterback was, I said, well, day in and day out, it's Rivers because he has the best numbers. He's the most efficient. Okay? He's probably the most technically sound of the three. And he's probably the best player of the three. But that doesn't mean, he goes in the Hall of Fame before the other two. He was not very impressive in postseason when he got there, and he hasn't been there in a long time. So he hasn't lifted his team into the postseason like Ben has done. Ben has carried the team on his back, hurt and everything else, right?
Correct.
We've seen that. He also wasn't great in the Super Bowls. He wasn't the MVP in either of his games. But he's a Hall of Fame player. There's no doubt that Ben Roethlisberger's a Hall of Fame player. Nobody doubts that.
Yeah, what did they give? 1 to Bettis and 1 to what? Hines Ward?
Yes, Hines Ward, right. And Bettis, I think. Was it Bettis? Yeah, somebody like that. But, so Santonio Holmes was the other one, I think.
Okay.
Made that catch.
Yep.
And Eli, we know all about. But Eli seems to be under a microscope because he's a Manning, first of all. And that's not his fault. And he's a Giant. And there's a lot of media surrounding him. And, they won some high-profile games. Once they won those Super Bowls, Eli became NFL royalty, and then all of a sudden the team got, fell fallow, as they say, and he became the face of that, which is terrible.
You know who Gary Myers is, of course, right?
Sure, I know Gary Myers.
Okay. Now, I don't know Gary at all.
I've met him a couple of times, yeah.
Okay, Gary's been attached to the Giants for decades, right?
New York football in general, yeah.
Yep. I'm going to read his tweet that came out yesterday. Eli Manning gets my vote as a first ballot Hall of Famer, despite his 116 regular season record. For me, his career is defined by 2 4-0 runs in the playoffs, 2 Super Bowl titles, beating Bill Belichick and Brady twice, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, the escape throw to Tyree, and the perfect throw to Mario Manningham.
Yep. When the lights were on, he was home. So, he's like Reggie Jackson. When the moment was big, he was bigger.
Yep.
And, Reggie Jackson struck out more than anybody in baseball history.
That is a great, by the way, John Fennelly. That is a great
But when national TV cameras were on, he jacked it out.
Yep. That's a great analogy. It really is. Because someone was saying to me, he never elevated the team. He's got more connection to losses than wins, and all this other stuff, on his shoulders. I'm like, you know what though? When it's the biggest game, all those for a long time, he held a record for fourth quarter comebacks, right?
He went to Dallas and beat Dallas when Jerry Jones was handing out plane tickets to the next round.
Yep.
He won the first game in Dallas in the new stadium. He went to Green Bay twice and won.
There's not a better game on his resume than 2007 NFC Championship. That is literally.
And that San Francisco game he was brutalized in that game, and he fought through it and won.
Yep. And I always bring, as you just alluded to, I always bring up the Green Bay game because that was him and Plaxico, like they were playing sandlot football, making, just absolutely embarrassing Al Harris, the Pro Bowl cornerback, and literally in the worst possible conditions you can play football in. So, there is an element to Eli that raises his game. There's plenty of fumbles, bad slides, dopey face expressions, and interceptions. Yep. But there's plenty of fourth quarter comebacks and consistency. And you know what? Jones may be all that and more. We don't know. No. But listen, if you're a New York football fan, look, Joe Namath, went to the Hall of Fame, and his record was 60-61. There are guys in the Hall of Fame who, don't have winning records.
Don't have anywhere near the statistics.
Correct.
If you look at some of these guys, they didn't have the opportunity to get the statistics, some of them, but, it's not about statistics. It's not about that. And sometimes, and may not even be about winning and losing sometimes. It's what you've done in your career. You play long enough, you're going to have bad moments as well as good ones.
Yeah, it's the term would be body of work, right?
Yeah, of course.
So look,
and the guy played 230 some odd consecutive game starts. Who does that? Brett Favre did it. Peyton Manning and Eli. That's it. And Rivers is on his way.
I guess my overall take, the 10,000-foot view from above, was what we started the show off with. The deflection. This is like the mighty deflection. Mm-hmm. Eli is not the problem. The problem in order is coaching and scheme, and players. The players that they have, the schemes that they have. They need to go back to basics, get a little bit simple, go back to the pitch and catch and the blocking and tackling, and see if that raises the level of their game. Because right now, Eli wasn't, even if you put Jones in, you're not going to get anything better. You're going to get the same thing. Now, you may get a little bit, like I said, the RPO stuff. You may get a couple scrambles, maybe you get a couple extra deep throws. But overall, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see this, big difference in the offense. You may get a spark or two, but the team cannot compete because the defense cannot get off the field. Until the defense can get off the field, you have to start looking at a 3-13 season, because it's still the same thing I said last year. It's the same thing I said this year. You could have a mediocre offense. You need a great defense. If you don't have a great defense, you don't get to the playoffs. Okay? You got to have a good defense to close games out. Your quarterback cannot win you every single game. Your defense has to be able to play ball.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, and that defense, if you're going down the rabbit hole or getting into the weeds, it starts outside in. Pass rush and cornerbacks, not safeties and defensive tackles. You got to start outside in. And now we are in a position where we have no pass rush. So Betcher has to use what he has and, turn it on, flip the switch. I'd hate to see a 2-win year. I really would. It would be devastating.
I think they'll have 4, maybe 5 wins. But you could have more. I mean, Miami they're gonna lose every game. I mean, it's just not. They don't have a professional team anymore.
So here's my last question before we go, and I'll turn it back to you. My only question I have, this is for you, is at the end of the season, when it's all said and done, does Shurmur and Betcher stay?
Well, it depends on the results. If they turn the defense around and it starts to look like they've got some traction and these kids start to play and, his system is kicking in, yes. If they continue on this path, I don't know if he makes it through the season.
Betcher or Shurmur?
Betcher first.
Okay.
But Shurmur, if they have 5 wins or less, they're going to be looking to do something, I think.
Okay.
They're going to have to. I mean, did they get a pass because we switched to a rookie quarterback? That could be. But then next year has to be a winning season.
Because this is the exact same issue that we had with Tom Coughlin, remember?
Yep.
Tom Coughlin came in to reinstate the Giant way, or at least something. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along those lines, right?
Yep.
Bring back the pride to Giants football, and he started off with a bridge to Eli. It's a very similar situation. Pat Shurmur is definitely not Tom Coughlin.
No.
Nobody's
Tom Coughlin. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I can only hope that Pat pulls up his big boy pants and gets this done and stops pussyfooting around and actually just becomes a head coach and own this team. And Betcher, just wake the hell up and stop trying to be cute and let your guys play football.
I agree.
That's all I got for this week.
All right. Don't forget to visit our Podbean page. Go to Podbean, go to the Giants guys, and if you want to support the podcast, you can become a patron. Click the button up there and become a patron of the show. And we'll be able to bring you some more quality entertainment. Hopefully you were entertained by this. Yeah, we're a little frustrated today, but
we're trying. Bringing more content all the time.
And I should be beginning my NFL Roundup shows and the gambling/fantasy shows on Fridays. Hopefully I'll be able to do one this Friday to give you guys my my knowledge on my long-standing knowledge on gambling on football and playing fantasy football, which I've been doing for many, many years. Where can the Giants guys fans find you? I am on Giants Wire on USA Today, and is also in print at the Giant Insider with Jerry Foley and his crew. And I could also be my Twitter account at John_Fennelly. You can find me. I always have something witty. Always, not always, but sometimes. I like your witty stuff. Some of it's witty, some of it's, something that rhymes with witty.
All right, you guys can find me, of course, on nygiantsrush.com. We got plenty of content up there. By the way, we have a long-standing article called Monday Morning Manning.
What are you going to change it to?
Well, we're thinking about Monday Java with Jones.
How about keeping up with the Joneses?
That might be it too, but there's only we do have 2 Joneses,
have
right?
2 Joneses.
All right, so it could be that too. We were kicking around Monday Java with Jones, but we may move. Keeping up with the Joneses could be it too. Then we got the film room with Spiro, and we got plenty of stuff up there. And you can always, reach me on Twitter at NYGiantsRush.
All right. Well, thanks for listening in, and we will be sending this our new schedule out when we're going to be on the air and when we're going to be dropping our next podcasts. So thanks for listening. This has been the Giants Guys. We'll see you next time.